the other
that's
community.
I just wanted to clarify. So you were
It's like the accused. You can have to.
But wait a minute. RobMe.com is scraping the internet to find out who's at home and who's not, and that's
Certainly, they're not the criminal here.
All of these different services have different settings, and they're set up with different systems
Just
of
like
social
Facebook.
engineering, both so in terms of social engineering and in terms of what's technically exposed. And those are all best practices that we're clumsily trying to figure out, both as users and as vendors at the same time.
I think that the other thing is, I don't know if you've seen the SNL parody on the Broadview super creepy ads with the dude kicking down the door 2 minutes after he says goodbye, but I think they should be sponsoring this too, because, you know, really, if you think about, let's talk about your thing. So if the 18-year-olds have no barriers, well, arguably they live at home, so the parents might always be home, but it's then you worry where they are. So there's going to be some education that happens there. But I mean, to Carrie's point, I think don't share anything you don't want to share, and then that's the point. You know, and so you decide how much Taekwondo you want to learn, how much mace you want to carry, how many guns you want to pack, how many alarms you want, and decide if it's worth sharing and then counteract that, or just say, screw it, I'm not sharing, I'm not going to share where the hell I am, or I'm just not going to worry about it and take my chances. I'm surprised that you were that popular. It probably may correlate to. That did not come out right. Is it? What do you have? Like 13,000 followers. So my point is that you have a much larger audience than the average 100-person Twitter follower base. So
well, this is true. The people who they called pranking me did say how gleeful they were to get so much conversation about them, even though of course we didn't know who they were talking about. And by the way, I would have outed these guys, but they live in driving distance to Portland, so they actually live in Oregon, so I know who they are.
So they were actually pranking you, or you don't know?
I mean, yeah, they called it pranking. Yeah, they've done.
I call it a felony.
They've done it to a bunch of people, but pretty much all women. I don't think they've done it to any guys.
But my point though is they're doing it, but they're not actually robbing you. So they're doing it to get attention. But what you're worried about is that they're actually going to rob you, but that hasn't actually happened. So we're talking about fear again.
Well, and I think I'm not actually that worried personally because I'm pretty savvy about these things. But I'm worried about 18-year-olds. You know, and I don't think you want to be. I don't think that you want the last check-in of the 18-year-old to be Lola's room when Nancy Grace is talking about it.
So we've got another question out in the audience I'd like to go to.
Well, I just wanted to make a comment. I mean, we're way off the business and social media topic here. But also,
good point.
None of this is new. I mean, I spent the last 2 years supporting a statistics guy who does circulation planning for magazines. I mean, I can tell you, it's neat that Facebook has all this data, but it's nothing compared to what the credit bureaus sell. Or the government. The government's behind.
The government doesn't know how to use it, so.
Did you fill out your census forms? Because I got to talk to all you.
Yeah.
Behind this data. What's really different is that Facebook allows you to target an ad to an individual person.
It's granular.
And
That's what's different about it.
That's not scary. What you're talking about, we've now combined the idea of scare tactics, like somebody might think rape, you're not home. The truth is, police can sit outside and see if anyone's in there anyways. They're already doing that. It happens. They're not going to target, I mean, maybe they do, but this is, you've tried to say scare tactics about 12 times now. I mean, this is fear-monger.
Right.
Totally not related to whether a business.
Thank you.
It's tonight at 11 on Fox News.
Actually, I would disagree. Since I come from the PR world, I think no business wants to be associated with something that could have blowback.
Everything could have blowback. Google search can have blowback. A business is not avoiding it for that reason, I can tell you.
You don't have any control. Somebody goes on and posts something about Intel. Intel has zero control over that, but that's Intel in the social media space. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. If we choose to be, I mean, it doesn't matter whether we choose to be there or not, right? So thank you. That's a great point. People are going to make comments about us whether or not we're there. I think it's a better idea to be there. And so that if they make false statements that have infactual, lacking in facts, especially if you're talking about product data or things like that. Why not be there to just say, hey, thanks, I wanted to let you know you didn't quite get the gigahertz right on that overclocking deal, right? I don't know all the words, but other than having them talk amongst themselves, making assumptions about your product that might not be true, when you could actually be there and talk for it yourself.
So the biggest social networks in the world right now are moving in a particular direction that one side of our debate argues raises some cause for concern, and that businesses should consider before investing a lot of time and energy and visibility and engagement with those social media platforms. And the other side of our debate, I think, is arguing toughen up individual users. You're getting what you signed up for, and it's important for businesses to jump in and be there so they don't miss out on the conversation that goes on. So that.
Well, I just want to add one more thing, and that's it's the back end of this debate, and that is that for a long time, marketers, and I'm sure you're familiar with the books of the culting of brands and that sort of thing, and it's this whole idea of marketing towards influencers. The simple fact is that there is no corresponding data to support marketing to influencers.
I absolutely beg to differ.
Have you read the Tipping
I have
Point?
actual data to show
I'm sorry,
you're wrong.
there is no corresponding data that is scientific and shows that marketing to influencers influences broader groups.
So I'm going to tell you that you're absolutely false, and we've got data to prove it. We have web monitoring and tracking systems that can track how many links in to specific content we get versus what someone would define as an influencer versus someone else over here. And then the spread of it is actually even greater. So I'm not quite sure where you're getting that.
So
Maybe you're
explain
just
to me
being
why
devil's
anybody
advocate or
wears-
something.
That's the reason why I'm getting at this is because that's the whole reason for marketing to